Welcome to Point News. We are your hosts, Elena Troya.
And I'm Nicole Kapelka reporting for UView. Let's kick it off with our top stories about the coronavirus in the Pittsburgh area.
COVID-19 has not only affected students and faculty here at Point Park University, but has also reached the neighboring communities of Pittsburgh. Starting off, we have our own story where we went to a practice where a Point Park cheer and dance teams to see how they were coping with all the new changes to their upcoming season. COVID-19 has not only affected the fall semester for college students, but also for student athletes. We went to the Point Park University Student Center to talk to the head coach of the cheer and dance teams to see how she is dealing with these new changes.
Some of these changes include COVID screening questions and temperature checks for all athletes before every practice.
I'm Bettina Harold. I'm the head coach of competitive cheer and dance. Had to do a lot of planning with capacity and eliminating any contact. We've done a lot for cleaning and sanitizing, so it just takes a lot of prep. So I had a plan, and it was approved by the trainers and the Point Park doctor before we started. We did a phased approach. We made sure that we had everybody in their own areas at all times. We made sure nobody was crossing paths. We have sanitizer for every person, and we would just monitor and do all the screenings constantly. We definitely have moved a lot slower. By now we would have had a lot more done, but we're just being patient and taking our time. We have virtual options, so if people don't feel comfortable, they can attend remotely.
We met with Jordan Green, captain of the cheer team, to discuss how she is coping with being a senior athlete during these difficult times.
Hi, I'm Jordan Green. I'm a senior and I'm the Point Park cheerleading captain. We pushed mats aside, which we've never done before, and we've been social distancing. So all in all, it's going the best that it could be with the situation that we're in. As a freshman, I had all these big plans for how my senior year was going to go, and it did a complete 180. But other than that, we still get to compete, whether it's virtually or in person. We still get to do it, so I still get to finish it out. I think it's great that Bettina has us wear a mask at all times because we're not the only people using the gym. And with other teams, I know masks are optional, but still it makes me feel safer if everyone wore them just because we all have to be in this space.
It's not mandatory to wear the mask during practice. I made the election that we should just because I thought it was a better precaution, and because I planned that way, we were able to continue practice when we did have teammates that had to quarantine. I think that other sports think that it's difficult to wear the mask, but I think that they could, take the time to be a little bit more cautious.
Knowing that these are strange times for student athletes, the cheer and dance teams are currently the only sports teams at Point Park University who have decided that the best way to keep everyone safe on their part is to practice with their masks on and to practice social distancing.
The teams are now preparing for their upcoming competition season. I'm Nicole Kapelko.
And I'm Elena Troya reporting for UView. Now back to you guys in the studio. Now we send it over to Noah Marshalek, who has a story on another sports team here at Point Park University. The men's basketball team has also experienced a lot of changes to their daily practices, but are finding safe ways to prepare for their season. Noah?
With outbreaks of COVID-19 continuing into the fall, these outbreaks are now affecting collegiate athletics. I went to Point Park University to talk to some basketball players about how these outbreaks are affecting their upcoming season.
For practices, we get about 1 hour to practice. All coaches and staff have to have masks on. And we have to be in and out around the times that practices are given so people could come in and clean and make sure it's all sanitized before practices are over.
I'd say right now we've been doing a good job of limiting people using the gym and wiping down the facilities once we use it, and just making sure everybody's wearing their mask when entering and exiting the gym.
With a lot of drastic changes happening to this season, student athletes are facing problems that they've never seen before in college. While they may have spent the first part of this year finding solutions to those problems, the next part of this year is going to be focused on one thing and one thing only: the season ahead of them. Let's hear how the players are preparing for this season now.
Probably the testings that we do every day before practices. Then not being able to get into the gym as much as we would like to. We just need to remain safe and cautious during the whole time.
I'd say we just usually last year we met like every day, and so far this year we've only been able to meet like 2-3 times a week.
The NAIA is really full steam ahead. They're really pro player right now, and they want us to play this season and see where it goes. And we hopefully, will play this whole season coming up.
As of right now, we have 20 games on the schedule, and I'd say probably 10 of them are going to be travel games. But usually we have a full 30-game schedule, so it's already been cut down, and I'm sure that some of those games will even get cut down.
With the season already being shortened to a handful of games, the Pioneers know every matchup is a must-win, with their eyes set on one thing and one thing only this season, a championship ring. This has been Noah Marshalik from UView. Now back to you guys in the studio.
Next, we have Michaela Weiler that has a story on a current student who transferred from California to Point Park University.
Here at Point Park University, a handful of students have already underwent on-campus quarantine due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I had the opportunity to speak with one current student about her experience. Amy Packard is a junior transfer student from California studying education. Packard is also on the Point Park women's soccer team. We had the opportunity to sit down together and talk a little bit about her experience here with her first semester as a Point Park Pioneer.
Park because I was looking for a small school.
And a small school Packard found. Point Park University offers over 70 majors and 17 collegiate athlete teams.
Soccer was one of the reasons I came here. And they had my major, which was education.
While Packard says she's very happy with her decision of transferring, her first semester has been different compared to most.
I felt like I was in jail. Honestly, I felt like I was in jail.
Is how Packard would describe going through quarantine. While talking with Packard, she says family and friends were the ones keeping her going through this entire experience.
It kept me motivated and just kept me going.
We wish you the best of luck with the rest of your career at Point Park University, Amy. Reporting for UView, I'm Michaela Weiler.
And that's all we have for on-campus related stories about the coronavirus. And now on to how the pandemic has affected the neighboring communities in Pittsburgh.
We have Tiara Strong at Pittsburgh's West Liberty Elementary School, where she interviewed Principal Leslie Perkins about the remote learning challenges at the school.
I'm standing here at Pittsburgh's West Liberty Elementary School, where just 7 months ago this building was occupied. Now due to COVID-19, students and staff have been forced to spend the first 9 weeks in a virtual learning environment. The staff and students have faced many challenges with the remote learning.
Technology has been the biggest problem with the remote learning. Making sure all the students have the technology and actually understand how to use it and how to get onto the learning platforms. We are using Schoology and Teams.
On November 9th, West Liberty Elementary School will begin to phase students back into the classrooms, but there are many concerns.
We have had to put together a schedule for the janitors that every time a student leaves an area like the bathroom, we have to have a bathroom schedule. There is some anxiety to come back, but they're also excited to come back only because of the construction. Our building looks totally different. We've now, like I said, we have more classrooms now, which means we can spread out a little bit more.
As November 9th approaches, the principal of West Liberty will continue to stockpile on masks, sanitizer, and other cleaning products to ensure the safety of her staff and students. Only time will tell if the new measures and health guidelines will work. I'm Tiara with UView, and now back to you guys in the studio.
And up next, we have Elizabeth Bobbitt, who interviewed a pharmacy employee at Rite Aid about the changes that have been made due to the coronavirus.
My name is Megan Glocker. I'm 20 years old. I am from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. I started working at Rite Aid in the beginning of April, right after the pandemic started, about a month into COVID-19. So getting back into work, back at home in Mechanicsburg, really felt good to get back into a routine and not just be in bed all day. How I made the decision to go back to work, specifically with Rite Aid, was due to the fact that my mom works at corporate for Rite Aid, and they offered jobs for those with corporate where if they knew anyone, friends or family, who got laid off from a job they were mass hiring in the stores for Rite Aid. When you're working in a pharmacy, it's definitely a higher risk to contract COVID-19 due to the amount of people coming in trying to get medication to try to feel better, not only from COVID itself, but from other medical needs. The worst part about working at a pharmacy, specifically Rite Aid in a global pandemic, has been definitely how much stress is put upon us. If we make any little mistake, it can lead to an argument with someone. We might have to call a doctor back for certain clarifications on directions. Sometimes we aren't able to do everything in one day. There are some pros about working in a pharmacy. In general, you definitely feel a lot smarter and you definitely have a lot more experience with what you're dispensing. But within a pandemic, you feel like there's something going on every day where you have to discover something new, and then you're the one that's responsible to get that information out. And just informing people or telling people, hey, what you heard or what you said isn't actually correct, this is what's correct, makes you feel pretty smart and humble about what you're doing. The first precautions Rite Aid took, especially when COVID-19 first arrived, was mandating the mask policy. All of the employees had to start wearing masks right whenever Pennsylvania had to put that in place. The other thing is we have to wash our hands every hour on the hour, make sure we're clean. We're wiping down every single thing. We also have plexiglass. Plexiglass has been very common. We wipe those down every night. Inside of the pharmacy, we make sure everything is okay. We make sure nothing is dirty. We make sure all of our counters are clean. We make sure all of our computers are clean. And we make sure all of the drugs are not expired and they're brand new. I am a multimedia major at Point Park University. How I'm able to juggle work and school during the pandemic is being able to work 3 out of 7 days of the week. So I'm able to do my schoolwork on the weekends and to have time to go to class and get my work done.
And now over to Andrew Otts, who has a story about organizations not being able to canvass neighborhoods door to door to campaign for the election due to the rising cases of COVID-19.
With the next presidential election less than 30 days away, organizations that normally would canvass door-to-door in neighborhoods like this have had to adapt their techniques around the COVID-19 pandemic. Across Pennsylvania, the campaign signs send a clear message of divided communities. But how are organizations navigating the pandemic? I spoke with Deanna Steck from Voice of Westmoreland to learn more about their canvassing efforts.
Wow, what we did is we really used the pandemic as a way to unite us. We were stuck at home. We couldn't go anywhere. We all felt kind of helpless. And rather than letting all of those emotions consume us as negative emotions, we channeled those into doing the work that mattered to us and just got really creative.
The technique of deep canvassing involves having an open dialogue with individuals to find out what truly matters to them.
That when we went door to door, we didn't particularly take a stand, like Democrat, Republican. We reached out to people about the values and the issues that were important to them. And then we would link that toward whatever candidate aligned with our values.
Organizations like VOW have found deep canvassing techniques to be much more effective than the traditional door-to-door.
I've realized that, when you have a conversation with people, it's important to really listen. Deeply listen to what the other person is saying. Silence can be golden. You can sit back a little bit and, it's okay if you're quiet for a little bit till they respond. And just let people talk about what they really care about.
Only time will tell how effective deep canvassing techniques truly are. But one thing's for certain, the COVID-19 pandemic has forced organizations like VOW to adapt to rapidly changing times.
And that's all we have for you. I'm Elena Troya.
And I'm Nicole Kopelko reporting for Point News.